Think about this. How well do you actually show up to execute when you need to? You know, most of the guys watching this, I know that they're in corporate. My question to you is, when it's game time, when it's that moment in the interview, or that moment in the meeting with everyone, or that moment where you're supposed to have that tough conversation with the employee or some team member, how well do you show up to that conversation? When it's time for you to ask for that pay rise or ask for that promotion, or to say, hey, listen, I know you're my mentor. Look, I know you want me to do this, but to be honest, I want to be promoted in the next 1 year. Can you tell me exactly what I need to do that? And if that's not something you're willing to do, maybe I can get another mentor. Like, how willing are you to have those conversations? Because building wealth and having satisfaction and fulfillment in what you do, it often at times gets hampered by little setbacks that you have in your life where you don't show up the way you wish you would. I'll give you an example. If you've seen the movie Fight Club, OG movie Fight Club, I don't want to ruin it for you, but basically in Fight Club, you have Edward Norton's character, who's basically more timid, and he's he just tries to do the right thing, and he's followed the script. Edward, he talks about it. He like the script that I talk about is like, my parents pushed me to go to a good school so I can get into a good uni, so I could get a good job, and now I had the good job, and for me, I'm like, oh, the next step is to find a good girl so I can get married and have good kids so I can send them to a good school and the cycle can repeat, and for me personally, like at a certain juncture, when I was having a good job and I wasn't fulfilled, I left that script behind and basically forged my own path. With Edward Norton's character, he talks about being 30 years old in middle management, and he's also followed that script and found himself not totally fulfilled. And I'll tell you where some of this stuff happens. Maybe you've seen my previous videos where I talk about aligning your life to your values and to a sense of purpose and to something that's actually inspirational and motivating to you beyond just the next rung on the ladder. But beyond that, something else which can hamper the way you show up is previous little times where you didn't show up the way you would have liked to. And that's what, in the movie Fight Club, Edward Norton's character, he kind of just stops short of saying what he wants to say. And he doesn't really kind of own himself the way he wish he could. And then comes along Brad Pitt's character, who basically doesn't give a fuck, and just like, he's free thinking, he knows what he's about, he doesn't feel the pressure of other people, and he just wants to, he's free, he just feels like a free man who knows where he's going and doesn't care what other people think. And what can happen is, if in your work situations or even relationships, when you show up as less than you are inside, it basically can demoralize you. And when that happens over time, you start to see the plateau happening, where in the beginning you might start off and you're bursting with energy and you're going from strength to strength and all that, but then a point comes where you're like, yeah, I don't know, like the opportunities are on the table, but I just don't really feel like getting it anymore. That is one of the things we're going to cover in this third principle of the 5 principles of a wealthy mind. The first one is knowing yourself. The second one is getting out of your own way. The third one is executing effectively. The fourth one is learning how to adapt. And the fifth one is learning how to replenish. In this one, which is executing effectively, one of the things that stops us from executing effectively are little setbacks in how we show up. So what I'm going to do in this kind of next part of the series, when I talk about executing effectively, I'm going to cover things like you showing up with confidence, you showing up and being able to feel like you have something to give, but also you feeling like you can receive. Because get this, if you are someone who is one of those beautiful people out there who struggle to receive compliments, and I used to be there as well, I get it. If you kind of feel that squirm when someone's trying to compliment you, get this, man, like that probably will translate into when someone's trying to pay you more as well. If you're struggling to ask for what you're worth, if you're struggling to receive just even a compliment, or you're struggling to receive people's love, or how much they actually think you're valuable, then that's going to translate in terms of the opportunities that you're going to allow yourself to receive. You know, you may have seen my video before about your net worth equals your self-worth. So one of the things we're going to cover is learning how to give, like realizing how much you have to give, and also being comfortable with receiving. Now, there's showing up with confidence. There's also boundaries. That is the third thing. See, there's a lot of guys who watch my channel who I know will struggle with boundaries because they're good boys, and you know, good guys usually struggle to set boundaries because they're trying to do the right thing and they're trying to help. And sometimes that manifests at work, where like they're trying to appease everyone, and as a result, it kind of compromises their own things and pushes their own schedule back. Sometimes it manifests in them showing up late to meetings because they're not able to say, "Hey, you shut the F up. We scheduled this for half an hour. You're taking up more of my time, and you're not even apologizing for it. So you can stop now. If you need more of my time, you can let me know, and we can organize a separate time. And you can let me know what that agenda is, because it seems like in this meeting you've been talking a bunch of shit anyway." Right? I hope that's not too real for you, but especially when I was in corporate, and I had, when you're a project manager, like you have to deal with, it's a very unique situation because you have to have the audacity or fortitude to be stern and set boundaries with like really senior people, because you have to herd all the cats somewhere. And so I had to develop an edge about me where when I saw people disrespecting my time, and it's not really because it's dim, it's more because it's like, hey man, we've all got a schedule. Like we're all trying to do something here, and we all need to be team players here. So like if I could sense that someone was just being blasé, like for example, when you sit down with like a good CEO or a good senior person, you know that they really care about their time. If they're basically like really to the point, they're talking fast, they're getting through it, unless of course it's like a mentoring session where it's supposed to be more chilled and relaxed, and in that case they're very present with you, but when someone really cares about their time when they're very focused. But you also know people who are tire kickers, who don't care about their time and are taking advantage of your time and making you late on your schedule, right? Because of the way they show up in that meeting, right? And that's what I mean by setting boundaries. It's developing that ability within you to say, no, look, I've got a schedule too, and I've been really careful about my priorities and everything that I'm doing so I can fit everything into that schedule. So don't you invite yourself to take up more time than I've provided for you here, right? And that's not about being cocky. It's not about being rude. It's just about respecting yourself and respecting your priorities. And by the way, like if you're working for someone, it's respecting the work they've assigned you to do and saying no. So I didn't mean to go on a rant there. We'll talk more about boundaries in another video. I'm just giving you an overview in this video of like the elements of executing effectively. Now, there's two more elements. One is influence, your ability to influence, and the other one is your ability to manage, like receive and manage money. So to touch on the money one, because I know that's typically people are very interested in that one. Here's the three things with money. Number one, there's actually three types of money. There's a lot of people who blindly go out there running for that money, but they don't appreciate that there's three different ways that you can get it, and they each have their benefits and drawbacks. And in a different video, you can look on my channel, I will do a video on the three different types of money. Another video will be on giving, on how you actually get the money, right? Because there's different ways you can get the money, but the issue is, are you going to be able to get it sustainably? Because it's all well and good to get a payday here and there, but are you one of those people who are hoping for a Hail Mary, Or do you have actually a sustainable strategy to build that money, And here's the last one, it's actually keeping the money. Because there's a lot of people who their view of getting money is just, oh, I just gotta make more, I just gotta make more somehow. But if you don't have a cap on your expenses and you don't have it's actually financial discipline which leads to financial freedom. And if you lack the discipline part, then your expenses just creep up with your income and you still feel the same. Financial freedom actually comes when you start to exercise discipline with your spending. So we'll talk more about that in another video. The last thing we're going to do on this kind of topic of executing effectively is talk about influence. There's a few different elements to influence. One's called social calibration. And social calibration is basically the way you can connect to people, the way that you can meet people where they're at and lead them, like pacing and leading, but really empathizing, connecting to where they're at, meeting them in the conversation. You'll know someone who's very socially calibrated because when you're it's that person who seems to really be able to get along with anyone. They can come into a group setting and they can join in with the laughs and really connect and hit the humor with that fine resonant tone, and it makes everyone laugh. That's social calibration. And the last thing I'm going to show you in terms of influence is a very advanced, amazing tool called spiral dynamics. Basically, that's a way to really understand different people, and it's a psychological framework of understanding people. Because when you can understand where people are at on their journey, and you have a framework to do that, it's so easy to start to go, okay, this person's more of a level 5. So with level 5, this is how you connect. These are what their values are. This is where you can lead them. This is how you can help someone like that. And when you can really connect with people, understand where they're at, they feel seen, they feel heard, and in turn it makes them more motivated to help you. And that's where influence is born. So I hope you enjoyed this. It's a bit more of an overview video. In the next video, when we start to break this down, in the next videos, I'm going to start to break down what I started to speak about at the beginning, which is actually showing up, as your best self so you can maximize your results. I'm also going to do 2 more overview videos on how you actually adapt, because adaptation is important as time goes on to stay relevant. And then the last one is replenishment, which is one of my favorite topics. So we'll do some more overviews, but then we're going to actually break down, and I'm going to get into, there's actually 25 chapters I'm going to take everyone through. Now, if you have any questions or anything like that, I'm going to put my contact details in the link below. So I'm happy to answer those questions on a YouTube video. Furthermore, please do connect with me. I'll put my details there below. And the last thing I'll say is this, the mission of this channel is truly to spread more wealth, to give you the wealth psychology that we were not taught in school, so that you can increase the wealth in your life in whatever form is meaningful to you. So if that sounds motivating to you, please share this video, because being on a boat party is fun, but it's a lot more fun when your friends are there. So I think that we should all come up together. It's just funner together. So do share this with anyone that you think will be down. Thank you. I'll see you on the next one.